Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Death by Pony. My hair will not do anything today. I got this little flippy bit that doesn't want to stay down, so it's just a mess. Anyway, we're going to hop back into our life. So without further ado, let's hop in. All right, everybody. Now's the fun part. We're going to hop into some of this DLC stuff first, and then we'll head over here. So let's start with reflection. The tantalizing summer sun had beckoned you uh, out of the house as soon as you'd finished breakfast. You were ready to enjoy the day as soon as you'd figured out how you were going to spend it. You caught the Holden's front door opening from across the street. Out came Cove wrapped in a full wetsuit. Spotting you, his face lit up in a smile as he sent it your way. "Morning, Cove. Now, where could you be off to dressed like that?" Cove opened his mouth to reply, then pursed his lips as he struggled for words. He slowly found them, rubbing his arm awkwardly.
Well,
"Actually, I'm going down to the docks. I've been thinking about stuff, and now there's something I want to do." "Oh?" He looked at his arm, knowing where that familiar scar was hidden. Even under the wetsuit, Cove's fingers were tracing small circles over it with his thumb, now like a bullseye. The scar had been there as long as you'd known Cove, though when you'd first it, it had been concealed by a neon pink cast.
so?
"Want to hear how I managed to go jet skiing when I was 8? You were initially stunned that he guessed what you were thinking, though given the topic of conversation and the direction of your gaze, it was a natural conclusion to reach. Not bothered by your reaction, Cove continued with a shrug. "I don't mind telling you, it's nothing special." He rubbed the back of his neck, grinning sheepishly. "Mostly, it's just really dumb." You nodded that was something you'd like to hear more about, especially knowing that no lasting harm had come of it. Cove stared into the distance, lip parted as he readied his story in his mind. "So me and my dad and mom were at a party. I don't even know if it was a casual get-together or a specific celebration. I hope it wasn't for something meaningful considering how it ended." He winced, then managed a bashful smile. "Anyway, my mom and dad were off doing stuff, talking to people. I guess I was left with the other non-adults. Most of them were older than I was. Maybe all of them were?" His brow furrowed as he tried to recall dusty memories, then he shrugged again and continued. "The older kids were taking turn on the jet skis. There weren't enough for everyone to ride at once, so in between turns, they were hanging out in the shore. I was meant to just sit there and watch." Remembering when you'd first met Cove, you'd bet that he hadn't been satisfied with that arrangement. He confirmed that suspicion. "I was pretty unhappy. It wasn't a party for me. Now, when all I could do was look at other people having fun when I couldn't." The teens must have realized that, though. Never hit. I never hid when I was pouting as a kid. "Only when you were as a kid?" Cove bristled with embarrassment. "It looked pretty silky to you." "Come on, let me finish the story." "All right." Cove sighed, letting go of the interruption, picking up where he left off.
Well,
"Basically, someone offered to let me ride. I was too small to drive it myself, but the older kid, they must have had been at least 16 and said I could sit in front of them while they controlled the jet ski. I knew I wasn't supposed to do anything like that. Still, I figured my parents were doing whatever they wanted, so why couldn't I?" I nodded as the person, and I remembered the other teens helping me onto the jet ski along with the one driving. We sped off into the water. Joe smiled widely and wistfully. "It was amazing at first. My hair was flying everywhere as we zoomed away from the shore. I loved being out of the water like that." Too bad it turned out steering a jet ski with an 8-year-old sat on your lap was harder than a bunch of kids figured it'd be. The teen tried their best, but couldn't keep control for long. We got spun around and went right into the sand. He sucked in a deep breath. The other person wasn't hurt, thankfully. They held onto the bars and stayed in their seat. I didn't. I was thrown at full speed into a rocky part of the shore near the dock. I must have tried to brace for impact and catch myself because my arm is what I mostly landed on. You looked down at the limb in question. You could only see him visualizing the long-healed injury.
that's.
It was pretty torn up after that. It's hazy for me. I got taken to the hospital. I didn't feel a lot of pain when it first happened. I remember thinking about how it was covered in sand and grains were uncomfortable. The sand was uncomfortable? Cove chuckled. I know, right? Start feeling my arm later. I did start feeling my arm later. It definitely hurt eventually. The doctor said my arm was broken along with being torn open, and that's how I ended up getting my pink cast. He smiled nostalgically. That color, it seemed just nice and happy at the time. It brightened the mood, so I picked it. The smile faded. He finished the story with a sigh, his eyes downcast. I feel bad I did any of that. I hope whoever that teen was, they weren't traumatized by seeing a little kid go flying into the ground. They were just trying to do a nice thing. Cove threw his arms out to the side dramatically. I wish I knew who they were so I could give them a call and say I'm still in one piece. But yeah, that's the full story. I'm still glad you were both okay in the long run. I'm really sorry that happened. You laughed at what a terrible idea it was. How could you be so reckless? You didn't know how to act. I'm glad you were both okay. That's the important thing. Cove sighed, the regret written plain on his face. Cove straightened up, his dark expression clearing like cloud giving way to painted skies. That's what happened then, but now I'm an adult. I want to try again. This time, I'll get it right. That seems like a bad idea. Good luck. That sounds fun. Can't wait to see your new scar. Are you sure? You stayed quiet. That sounds fun. We don't want to scare the man. Your support drew a shy smile from Cove's face. You know, you could come too if you're interested, I mean. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if you came. Actually, I love jet skiing. I'll join you. I'd be interested in trying. I'll come to keep an eye on you from the shore. No thanks, I'll pass. You shook your head to refuse the offer. You nodded, accepting of the offer. Actually, I'd love jet skiing.
Cool.
I'll join you. Cool, I'll hang back here while you grab your stuff. You nodded mentally, beginning a list of what you'd need for this excursion. You left him waiting while you headed home to get ready to go out. You changed into a wetsuit like Cove's. Once you were satisfied you'd gotten everything, you returned to Cove. The two of you got into his car and set off to the jet ski rental store. Cove mentioned that he'd found it online. You and Cove soon arrived at the ocean. It was perfectly invited to. The deep blue of the water glittered under the clear skies, while the tide rolled in and out leisurely. I'm so excited for this. You were just as pumped as he was. His excitement was adorable. You felt a little worried. You felt a chill of fear where you were really doing this. You didn't know how to feel. His excitement is adorable. Saying how pleased you were, Cove grinned at you.
Hey.
Oh, hey, you want to say hi to my dad while we're here? I already texted my mom about the plan. He's working right now. You remember how close his shop was. It wouldn't take long, even by walking. Yeah, let's go brighten his day with our cheery faces. Mr. Holden was a verified stunner. You were happy to check him out while Cove checked in.
Sorry.
Thanks. Sorry it might be kind of awkward when he hears why we're here, but it should be alright. I mean, my parents forgave me a long time ago for that amazing stunt. I don't want to be scared off jet skiing for my whole life because of it. You wondered which of you Cove was attempting to reassure. It was only a short walk back down to the dock to Mr. Holden's scuba shop. Cove breezed in, as familiar with the store as he was his own home. The place was quiet, empty aside from a couple customers quietly browsing and Cove's dad behind the counter. Mr. Holden looked up, his friendly expression spreading into a grin when he saw who had just entered.
Hey.
Hey, Harry. Hey, sport. What brings y'all down all the way out here? He cast an eye at the way the two of you were dressed. Judging by how you'd decked out, I'm guessing scuba diving? There's plenty here for that. What can I help you with? Cove chuckled, amused by how quick his dad seized on his favorite topic, or maybe it was how his dad always fell over himself trying to be useful. Hi, Dad. We're not doing that this time. We sort of decided to go rent a couple jet skis. The phrase jet ski set Mr. Holden's mouth in a taut line immediately. Jet skis. He echoed the words as his eyes instinctively darted to the scar on Cove's arm. That's when Mr. Holden started to speak several times. Each attempt quickly abandoned. Cove's smile, encouraging, trying not to add to his father's worries.
Don't worry about it.
I promise I'll be careful, and Ari will be there too. We can keep an eye on each other. Mr. Holden pinched his face back into an unconvincing smile. All right, you're a whole lot bigger now than you were back then. Heck, you can drive a car and everything. I'm sure you and Ari will have plenty of fun. The worry still echoed out of his voice, barely concealed by the positive words, but Cove was buoyed with his father's support. Yeah, well, we're all set. We only stopped to say hi and let you know since we're here. Mr. Holden beamed, obviously moved by his son's simple consideration. Wow, you're so thoughtful. Thanks for taking the time. Cove gave his dad a crooked smile, shaking his head bashfully. He'd long stopped fighting his dad's effusive praise, but that hadn't meant he'd ever become good at accepting it. Ooh. Mr. Holden simply laughed at his son's response. It'd be great if you could keep me in the loop while you're out there too. Just text me to let me know if it's going well or anything. I will. His dad smiled more easily.
Great.
Great. Cove rubbed his arm, causing Mr. Holden's eyes to momentarily twitch back to the childhood injury.
Bye.
We're gonna head out. See you later. Take care. Don't work too hard. Mr. Holden waved you off as you left the store. The pair of you headed back to the docks, walking side by side. You felt your feet hit the board. Cove's pace fell. Glancing over, you saw him look down over the water. That wouldn't have been unusual if his expression hadn't been so somber. He wasn't geared up with anticipation or even nervousness, but with an uncharacteristically lethargic, something was weighing heavy on his mind. Cove, what's up? You're gonna walk right off into the sea if you don't pay attention. You nudged him gently. What's up? Huh? He blinked, startled by your interrupting his rumination.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. He sighed, though you'd torn his attention from the ocean. It gradually drifted back to the water. You cleared your throat, unwilling to lose him again. Sorry, again. He put his hands to his face, rubbing his eyes wearily. Here I go, thinking everything's resolved with what happened and we can get back. We can have fun. But I can't just enjoy anything. I had to find something else to get stuck in my head. You're having second thoughts about jet skiing?
No.
No, that's not it. And the end of his lips were drawn into the beginning of a frown, like gray clouds clustering into a signaling storm. I feared my dad would be a little worried about me doing it, but what he was saying, it wasn't what I expected. He was so sad. It was more than nervous. I think he feels bad, and now I feel bad, but it isn't as if I'm the only one who's ever done something stupid or get hurt. It got me thinking about that whole time. That's when I realized it wasn't long after that incident that my parents separated. We're gonna stay quiet. As a kid, I didn't think about the consequences of my actions, or how what I did impacted other people. Like, why should anyone care? I'm the one doing it, not them. It made no sense, and I still cared when other people did things I didn't like. But I was 8 and mostly just mad that nothing felt like it was in my control. You could tell that he was building up to something, so you nodded for him to continue. It was pretty difficult to deal with because of that attitude. But looking back, I think that's what saved me from something a lot of kids go through, blaming themselves for their parents' divorce. I never crossed my mind that anything I did made a difference on my mom and dad's relationship. They would do what they did no matter what. Now, though, I guess it's kind of hard to ignore that thought, huh?
I mean,
The situation was already so hard, and I wasn't a good kid, so he left his words adrift. As he looked down at the conclusion unfinished, it was silent between you two. Only for a second, Cove pulled himself up, full height, his chin held aloft. Whatever he decided was his resolute. Hey, you go ahead. I'll catch up later. You should have fun. I've just got to talk to my dad. What? It'll be okay. You don't have to worry about it. I'll come back. All right, you nodded. You shook your head. I'm going to stick with you. All right. We'll let him go. We're not super close with him. He didn't want to intrude on their conversation. Cove scraped together a smile. You could tell that he had been worried about your enjoyment of the day, as well as the potential revelation with his parents. Accepting his proposal to go ahead had assuaged some of that. Bye, and see you soon. Bye. You watched as he turned around, retreading the steps you'd taken minutes before. He didn't show any sign of hesitation. Cove had wanted you not to worry. It was your job to fulfill that wish. You turned around towards the end of the path and continued on to your destination. Getting everything set up was easy. You soon found yourself on the water. Time passed quickly as you sped over the ocean waves. Eventually, a waving figure on the dock caught your eye. It was Cove. Smiling, you sped over to him. You hovered close by as he began mounting his own jet ski. How'd it go? His eyes were red-rimmed, and you suspected that he'd been crying. In spite of that, he grinned.
it's nice.
It was nice. How's it been for you? It was also nice. Cool. Cove was eager to make up for lost time. The two of you spent the rest of the afternoon out on the water. You weren't sure if it was his previous experience on the jet ski or what had happened during the conversation with his father. Cove was initially a little timid on the vehicle. That didn't last long. His confidence quickly blossomed, the fear overtaken by excitement. The hours rolled on by as you rode over the waves. It was freeing being able to drive so fast, with barely any obstacles to worry about. It felt nice to really take control of where you were going. You know, Ko felt the same way. Oh, that was sweet. Also, very much shorter than it was because if we were closer, we would have gone with him, and let me just say a ton of drama. But because we're not, I gotta respect that and respect his privacy as a human being. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, remember to hit like and subscribe. That way you can come back and see more. Cause don't you want to see more? It's a cute game. It's lovely. Uh, so I hope you do. Anyway, I won't take up any more of your time. I hope you had a good day, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.